Blockchain cruises on YouTube, crypto raves in Miami, multi-million-dollar Super Bowl commercials.
Fortune favors the brave.
For a while, wherever you looked, the crypto crowd was on top of the world. But the party is over.
The market value tanked. You saw a series of crashes.
As alleged fraud dominates headlines,
Sam Bankman-Fried arrested at the request of the U.S. government.
And regulators crack down, the financial revolution crypto once promised looks further away than ever.
25 out of 45 of the world's biggest economies have either completely or partially banned crypto.
But crypto's future might have less to do with money than you think. Some believe it could hold the key to a wholesale transformation of the internet.
Cryptocurrency was really the first step in this journey.
I think we're just about to see that bit where it starts to get interesting.
In the 1990s, people started to worry about how a new invention, the internet, would affect people's privacy. These anxieties gave birth to a movement to combat them, the cypherpunks.
We believe in personal privacy for everybody.
Their distrust of governments and corporations made headlines. As open source code and file sharing went mainstream, the cypherpunks were looking for a peer-to-peer network, not for music or movies, but for money.
It created an entire movement and community of people who decided to dedicate their lives to working on this technology to try to build privacy-preserving technology and secure communications. And the cryptocurrency movement followed directly out of that.
The ambition was to develop a secure and irreversible payment system that didn't involve centralized banks, corporations, or governments.
Privacy issues are inherent to the financial system. If you use a financial app, they're going to have to verify your identity. If you want to operate in a fully private way, no one knows who you are, you can't do that in most parts of the world anymore if you're transacting online. It's just not possible. And so that's a big part of the motivation for cryptocurrencies is people want to be able to operate in a permissionless way.
In 2008, an email from an anonymous person or persons calling themselves Satoshi Nakamoto appeared to hold the answer to this challenge.
Satoshi Nakamoto created the world's first cryptocurrency, a digital form of money, Bitcoin.
The project took off, and despite wild swings, the value of Bitcoin has grown, as has the industry.
There are tens of thousands of cryptocurrencies now. People in the space like to call it permissionless. You don't have to get the rubber stamp of a regulator to create one.
It's been a wild ride. By the start of 2020, crypto's market capitalization had reached $250 billion. And by the end of 2021, it had swollen to $3 trillion, before falling to $828 billion by 2023. It's a volatile investment. So what's the attraction of crypto? The answer partly lies in the technology that makes cryptocurrencies work, the blockchain.
So if you want to create a cryptocurrency, you need some kind of way of making sure no one fudges with it. And so that's why cryptocurrencies use what's called a blockchain.
A blockchain is a decentralized digital ledger.
The key thing that's interesting about them is they have what are called consensus algorithms. So ways in which the different parties maintaining the blockchain agree on what is the source of truth.
A majority of users verifies each transaction on the blockchain. They all have an economic incentive to maintain trust in the network, so everyone acts honestly, because it's in their best interests. It means people can bypass central systems like banks and governments. Some would call it revolutionary. To learn more about how the Bitcoin blockchain works, click on the link.
This has a lot of political implications, of course. If you're able to transact online without worrying about government interference, then of course you're reducing the power of the government to, surveil the economy, to control people's lives. That vision, I think, is very powerful to a lot of people.
But now, many fear the cypherpunks revolution is in jeopardy.
There definitely is a lot of reflection happening in the cryptocurrency community right now. A lot of people thinking about what are the use cases that are really going to drive adoption? Where is it really going to make the biggest impact?
The answer might lie far from the financial centers of the rich world.
Nigeria is the world's second largest user of digital currencies. Mexico-based crypto exchange Bitso is now the first crypto unicorn in Latin America.
Bitcoin's price hits new record high in Argentina.
Africa, Latin America, and parts of Asia have all seen rapid uptake of cryptocurrencies in recent years. Their stories might offer a glimpse of crypto's future.
Crypto tends to be used more in places where the alternatives are worse. So, for example, if you look at parts of the world like Argentina, which has hyperinflation, doesn't have a great store of value that's cheap and inclusive for people to transact with. Crypto is and stablecoins in particular are used more often. But then other parts of the world, you might not see crypto as useful.
That's because transaction fees and the price of moving money in and out of crypto can make it a more expensive option than transferring money in more mainstream ways.
Countries like India, once they create really good retail payment systems that are free account-to-account transfers, the use case of crypto goes down a lot because you have a pretty good digital financial system anyway, so why use crypto?
One way of reducing these costs is so-called Layer 2 solutions, where transactions happen on a framework built on top of the main blockchain. Because they don't need to be verified by as many users, transaction costs are lower.
Layer 2s work pretty differently. So they're probably going to be faster than the core blockchains, but there are limits to what they can do. I don't know if they can handle everyone in the world wanting to transact really frequently, for example.
But the real leap forward for crypto could be using the technology behind it to build something much bigger.
We're in the post-money era of blockchains. This new layer is the social layer that's building on this infrastructure. It's like building a new digital society.
Hi, I'm Mathieu Favas, the Economist finance correspondent. If you're enjoying watching this film, you might be interested to know that Economist subscribers get access to a wealth of global analysis on every conceivable topic. You can read it, you can listen to it, you can even be part of it at live webinars. For the best deals on subscriptions, click on the link. And now on with the film.
In the quest to find the next incarnation of cryptocurrencies, some believe the blockchain technologies behind them could end up fueling a whole new version of the internet. This vision is called Web 3.
And the big difference between Web 2 and Web 3 is who controls people's data and who controls the various applications that are running on the internet. With Web 3, the idea is your information is stored on the blockchain, which is permissionless, decentralized, and you have ownership over it using your identification credentials or so forth.
The consequences for the majority of web users could be profound. When you use a website like Facebook or Instagram, your data is collected and owned by those companies. It's how they make their money. In Web 3, your data is stored in a wallet on the blockchain, which only you have a key to. You'd interact with websites and apps on Web 3 through your wallet, and when you log off, they can't see your data anymore. Seeing as you own your data, you might even be able to make money from it. In theory, Web 2 companies could do this if they chose to, but advocates for Web 3 believe a new, decentralized internet would make it far easier.
A lot of the advocates and proponents for Web 3 aim to bring incentives into the applications that they're building. So they aim to bring the idea of paying for services directly, as opposed to paying using advertising or behavioral data into a service, and also really creating incentive systems where people can pool their funds together and invest in the growth of a protocol.
The idea is a more democratic internet, fueled by the technology behind crypto. But this carries its own security risks.
Something that's important to remember is the way that blockchains operate is that all of the data on the blockchain is available to everyone in the blockchain network. And for really public, permissionless, decentralized networks, that means that data is public to everyone in the world. They are what we call pseudonymous. So, you won't see necessarily people's names or, identifying information. You'll see a random number, but that data can still be linked across transactions. You can still glean a lot of information from that.
And because blockchains have no central authority, no one would be responsible if hackers did gain access to your data.
The designers of these systems really have to think about how do you bake in security at the very core? Knowing that you're going to have an open system which anyone can join, how do you sort of set the scales up? How do you set the protocol up so that it's hard for an attacker to cause problems? But this is an incredibly important area of research. that we're still developing, which is really understanding the economic security of these systems.
If these lingering privacy issues can be fixed, crypto's future might not lie in finance at all, but in the next iteration of the internet.
There's a large part of the crypto community that's very, very driven by ideology, by ideals. They have a vision for a decentralized open internet where anyone can spin up an application, contribute to it, and be rewarded.
All new technologies, when they first start, can be clunky, can be slow, can have problems, and might not be anywhere near as close to the technology that they're trying to replace. But what we have to remember is that technology is not a static thing. It is constantly changing and evolving, and people are working. And so just because something is slow today doesn't mean that it's going to be slow tomorrow.
Thanks for watching. If you want to read more about cryptocurrencies or the future of money, click on the link below, and don't forget to subscribe.